Hi everyone. Today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. I'm going to be working with Distress Oxide, so we've got the ripe persimmon and the cracked pistachio. I've got myself 2 card blanks and these are shot bought, so they normally measure around about 5 3/4 square. Yeah, so in theory this is a 6x6 card, but because they're shop bought, they're usually smaller. So we've got 2 of those. We're going to make 2 cards out of one design, if you like. I've picked out 2 dies. These are both squares, and the biggest one is from cut to cut about 5 3/8 square. And the next size down I've chosen is 4 2/8 square. I'm going to choose a sentiment from the Sentiment of Yours Papillion Paradise Flourish sentiments, and I'm going to be using the On Your Birthday at the bottom. And you're going to need a background stamp. Any background stamp that you have will work for this technique, and I've chosen the Big Backgrounds Vintage Daisies, also from Sentimentally Yours. I'm going to take in my stamping platform, and you're going to need 2 pieces of white cardstock, and these need to be exactly the same size, any size you like to fit your background stamp. And we're going to be die cutting these together, so you really want to think about the weight of the cardstock that you're going to be using. I'm going to be using 160 GSM for this project. If you go any thicker, your die cutting machine might struggle to cut through both pieces. And all we're going to do is, using your stamping platform, you really will need to use a stamping platform for this technique, is get your piece of card as tight to the corner at the bottom and the right hand side as possible, and we'll hold that down. And taking in your background stamp, making sure we got this the right way up. You're also going to need to place this tight to the bottom and tight to the side of your platform. I'm going to pick this one up, and we know if this cardstock now moves, we can just place it back exactly where we had it. So tight to the bottom and tight to the side. I'm going to ink this first one up in the pistachio green, so get a nice amount of ink on your stamp. And we're going to bring that across, and we're going to stamp this down. Now we need to give this a really nice press. And then when we lift this up, we've got our beautifully pistachio green image stamped. We are now going to need to clean off our stamp, because we're going to do that again. And we're now going to stamp this up in the ripe persimmon. With our second piece of card, we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to get this right down in the corner, right up to the edge. And we're going to bring that stamp across. There we go. And because we haven't moved the stamp off of the lid of the stamping platform, that should stamp in exactly the same place. as the first one. That one up. And now we've got our second image. We do need to clean that stamp up again before we put it back. So we finished with the stamping platform. Taking in our images, you can see that they both look identical. And those are dry now. What we're going to need to do now is put your two pieces of cardstock together, taking in a piece of low tack tape, making sure that they are exactly together in line, and just put a piece of low tack tape across the top. So now we're going to die cut these out with our squares. Taking in our largest square, going to line this up, and you can put this wherever you want, bottom, top, and we're just going to tape that one down so that one doesn't move. And then with your next size down, you can choose what sizes you want, what shapes you want. They don't have to be squares, they could be triangles, diamonds, whatever you want them to be. I'm going to try and get that as square as possible. And again, with a tiny piece of low tack tape, just tape that one in place. So now I'm going to load up my plates and run that through my e-bosser. And then when you remove your die cut images from your machine, always turn it over first and make sure that it's cut all the way through, which it has. And that way, if it hasn't, if you've removed it, you'll never get it back in the same place. We should have now is two pieces of exactly the same die cuts, but in different colours. Let's just move these plates out the way. So taking them in, I know now if I put this one with this one, this butterfly at the bottom is matching up perfectly along with this flower, and this one with the bottom of this one, again, everything's lining up beautifully. So we're just going to put those to one side. I'm going to take in one of my 6x6 card blanks. I'll give that a nice burnish. So I'm going to choose a corresponding colour. I think because we've got the orange on the top, maybe we'll go with that one. So this is just coloured cardstock that I got from Chloe's Creative Cards, and it's A4, it's 150 GSM. I'm going to cut one piece at 5.5 square. That's 5.5 square. I'm going to keep those pieces. So this one's going to be for this one, and then for this one we need the green. So again, finding a nice corresponding green, which I think is this one, and we're going to cut that one 5.5 square. And as always, this is a white core, so I like to go around the edges of my cardstock with a corresponding alcohol marker, just so that we lose that white core. So that's a green one done, and this one we can do in this orange colour. And all that does is just makes the cardstock look a bit more professional. So that those two done. So we've got two cards on the go here. We've got our first card, which is going to have our, I just turned that up the wrong way, yep. Try and match that back up with the butterfly, so that's that one. And then we've got this one. So I've got 2 cards. What I'm going to do with the matte layer is I am going to glue this straight down. So a nice bit of glue on the back of your cardstock. And even though it's square, it always looks better one way than it does the other. Get that one nicely laid down. With this first one, I thought I would run some foam tape around the edge of this one. Just around the edges. Half an inch, quarter of an inch. It's a quarter of an inch, this foam tape. Give that a nice press down. So this is now going to sit on here, and our orange back piece is going to slot inside. So if we take off our backing tape, what I've done is I've homed in on one thing, and I've homed in on the butterfly at the bottom, so I know that this now is the right way. What to do with this is try and get that as even as possible. There we go, and get that as straight as possible. And then this one is going to sit inside, and we're just going to glue this one down. So finding our, lining up our butterfly at the bottom and concentrating on one thing. Get the butterfly lined up nicely. Yeah, so as you can see, the butterfly at the bottom is completely lined up, as is this floral, and this one at the top, the orange with the green. For the sentiment for this one, I thought I would go with On Your Birthday, which is quite a long stamp. So what I've done is I've already mounted it onto my stamping block. So all I'm going to do, I've got a piece of scrap card here. I'm going to ink this up with my VersaFine Onyx Black. And I'm going to stamp down in this corner, save cardstock, and just give that a nice press down. And this is what happens with the wrong size stamping block. When you're pressing, if the stamping block is too big, it rocks. Whereas if you use the correct size, you'll get a perfect image every time. So I'm going to go about there. Yeah, perfect. And all I'm going to do with this is choose one of my colours and just go around the edge, just to bring that colour into the white. You're not really going to see it an awful lot, but we know it's there. And this one is going to go up on foam tape. I'm just going to run a line of foam tape all along the middle. And I thought we would put this across. Yeah, about there. So there's our first card made. Now our second card is basically exactly the same, but this time I'm not going to raise the center. I'm going to raise the first matte layer. Put your foam tape around the edges. Piece down the middle. And a small piece either side. Give those a nice burnish. And remove those back ends. Again with the outer back ends, we're just going to take those halfway. And get that nicely lined up. Now remove those tapes. So what we're going to do with this one is a top fold card, and all I'm going to do with these is glue these straight down. So remembering where my butterfly is, some nice glue around the edge. Butterflies at the bottom. Get that nicely lined up. Same with the center panel. There's our butterfly at the bottom. I'm going to line up our butterfly and pop this straight down. So our image is completely, perfectly lined up. So this butterfly's lined up, this one's lined up, our flowers are lined up, and this is going to be a top fold card. We're going to do exactly the same with the sentiment. It's up in the green. That just pulls that green colour into the sentiment. And again, this one is going to go down with foam tape. And this one we're going to put through the middle. Make sure that that is straight. Yep. And give that a nice tap down. So there's our second card. So we've made 2 cards with the same design, but switching them up. And how beautiful are they? Really nice and quick and easy. I like that this one's top fold and this one's side fold. So there we go. Hope you've learnt something. Hope you enjoyed my video. And until the next time, thank you for watching. Bye for now.